Hello, 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 everybody. We are once again here looking at EUROBOWL, and with me today is going to be the captain of the Welsh team, GColeman76, the Giant Slayers, as everyone probably already knows. But let's give him a chance to say hi to everybody. Hello, Mr. Coleman.
Hello, hello everybody. Thanks for having me, Alessis.
Absolutely, always a pleasure to have you on. And always appreciate you taking the time to be here as well. So, I think I mean we chatted a little bit before the stream, but you said that you guys did all right in the tournament.
Yeah, we had a fairly decent tournament. I'm not going to complain about it.
Yeah, yeah,
Quite pleased.
yeah. I'm
Certain,
mm,
certainly in comparison to what my hopes were before going. I said I felt that we could definitely get in the top 10 and
mm,
top 5 would be great.
mm.
So yeah, it panned out okay. Yeah.
It certainly did. Like taking a look at this standings list here, it's you don't need to go very low to find Team Wales on the list here. So, but yeah,
I
all.
have to admit, I don't
Mm?
I don't know who finished in third place or fourth place. I don't need to look anywhere further down. Once you find your team name, you know.
That's good to know. Well, I'll be. I mean, that's why I'm here. I'm gonna pass that message along to those below you on the scoreboard, so that they know who they're looking up to. I guess. Um, but yeah,
I mean,
the mm.
on that page, you can't even see Scotland, can you? I mean,
No, no,
where's
no.
Scotland?
That's a very interesting question. I wonder how much. Maybe if we just take a couple of teams down. Oh, there we go. There we go. There's the Scottish team over there. Um, I sure hope that BB Jock is not watching and listening to this. I'm sure you'll tell him all about it though, like the top tables, when you next meet. Wales banned from EuroBowl 2028 in shock news. Welsh captain runs Scotland down. Wow. Oh, that's now. Let's take it a little easy for now. Let's take it a little easy for now. But yeah, a phenomenal run, I would say, from Team Wales, and I'm glad to hear, yeah, as we covered it, yeah, that you were positively surprised, in the sense that like you succeeded beyond your at least initial expectations. But yeah, the team goes 5-0-1 record for the team as a whole, like when it comes to the rounds, and your personal record is 3-0-3 with High Elves, I believe. So tell me, G Coleman, are you are you happy with your personal record? Like, just straight off the bat, I do have to ask that.
My personal record. Yeah, I think it went as well as it could have done. I obviously have the 6 games. In one of those games, my team just got deleted.
Mm.
Didn't have any kill skills. It was just my opponent's dice ran incredibly hot. I say my opponent's dice. In that particular round, we actually shared my dice, so my dice ran hot for my opponent. Um, so that was one of the losses.
Mm.
Another one of the losses. I made a massive mistake positionally,
Mm.
and we can talk about that when we get
Yeah.
to each of my individual games.
Yeah.
And then the third game that I lost was when I was, yeah, thanks, Jock. Um, the third game that I lost was after I'd been instructed to push for a win, which was in the round against the Spanish.
Mm.
Um, and my communications team, Joe and Alex,
Mm.
Joe had come over and said, "It's going badly, Gav. You need to push for the win." I had
Mm.
the draw. I had a reasonable shot at a draw,
Mm.
but I was given the instruction. And then, unfortunately, about 3 minutes later, Joe came running over to my table and he was like, Gav, I've just made a 9% play. I don't need you to push for the win. but I'd already had my turn, unfortunately. So my players were now so far up the pitch, there was no way for me to stall effectively.
Yeah.
So I had to push it in and then play for the win, and it just didn't turn out. I wasn't able to turn over that opponent, and that
Right.
was in the Spanish round.
Yeah.
So yeah, so one game I played badly, one game I had my team deleted, and one game I followed the advice of my communications officer, and it changed quickly. There was nothing we could have done about it.
Mm-hmm.
Annoyingly, in that round against Spain, if that instruction hadn't come and if those circumstances hadn't happened, I could have probably held on for the draw, and we would have ended up winning the round against Spain.
Mm-hmm.
But that then would have changed the positions in the tables,
Yeah.
etc., etc. So who knows? But that single play, that single moment in time, we can look at it and say, well, if we got the draw there, then that round against France would have been for the absolute championship,
Mm-hmm.
even with a narrow win. So
Yeah.
yeah, but I was fairly happy. My two games against Amazon coaches absolutely demolished both the Amazon coaches.
Mm.
And I can't remember who I played against in the Belgian round. That was seems such a long time ago. I'm sure we'll look at it in due course.
We'll take a look at the fixtures for one by one. Yeah. But well, I'm glad to hear it because I know that you generally, I feel that you hold yourself to a fairly high standard when it comes to like your personal record. So I'm glad that you can be all right with that. And as you said, like somebody managing to make a 9% play to suddenly shift the entire course of that match is like it's not something that one can really like play around, especially like when it's not your game that it happens. It's someone else's, right? So yeah. So, but with that out of the way, your thoughts like going into day one and as the first round opponent for the Welsh team was Team Malta, and I believe you're fairly well acquainted with that bunch.
Yeah, so we played Malta in last year's Home Nations,
Mm,
and in the Home Nations, I think they narrowly defeated us
mm,
at the first ever Home Nations, which was a massive frustration. It was an unexpected loss
mm,
to Malta, but Malta have got some incredibly talented players now. Yeah, we lost to Malta 3-2 at the
mm,
Home Nations
mm-hmm,
last year, and they're an up and coming nation. They've got some great players, and obviously that's the round that had been drawn, and then all of the racial matchups changed.
mm,
And I think I was originally down to play against the Amazons,
mm,
but I ended up against the Lizards. And we were talking the night before the round, and we felt that what had been reasonably favourable matchups
mm,
had been changed to less favourable matchups
mm-hmm,
from a racial point of view. And yeah, that was the round that my team just got deleted. I played against their Lizard coach, a
mm,
very, very talented young man
mm,
who's very, very good. He's one of the youngest players that was playing in the Europeans.
mm-hmm,
Um, and my team just got deleted off the pitch in that round. Fortuitously, my colleagues managed to win enough of their matches
mm-hmm,
for us to take a 4-2 win. So yeah, Joseph beat the Vampires, Davo beat the Undead,
mm,
and I lost to Night Swords Lizards, and he won 3-0 on casualties, but I also had a load of knockouts as well.
mm, mm.
And it was sunny, so sun doesn't go very well with the passing plays that you like to pull off
Certainly not. Yeah.
with the high elves. So yeah, but really incredibly good player, Night Sword, and yeah, he's definitely one to watch. Malta are no pushovers,
Mm,
and so yeah, but the rest of the team did really, really rather well that round. Our Lizard coach managed to get a draw against Necro, but the standout performance for a draw that round was Burt Mac's Chosen against the Amazon team
Amazon,
that
yeah.
I was originally down to play against them. And Elf Amazon's a great matchup. I love that matchup.
Mm,
So John did nicely, and he actually got lots of casualties, which made it helpful for him.
mm,
So yeah, myself and James lost that round, but yeah, we managed to get four wins to take the round 4-2.
yeah. Um, Speaking of like we covered it a little bit with the Finnish captain in the last sort of review that we did. How much do you feel like you said that the racial matchups it was a very similar feeling in the Finnish camp that the matchups had been favorable and then they were downgraded or even potentially became unfavorable in some cases. How much do you think that disrupted anyone like the team at all, or do you think that you were able to take it in stride and just keep moving forward?
I mean, we were surprised that after going to the bother of making the draw and having it on Andy Davo's stream,
Mm,
and then putting it onto tour play, and then having the racial matchups, because tour play does allow you to change each of those individual fixtures. The problem was a couple of coaches submitted their team rosters incredibly late. In fact, on the Friday evening, the final person to submit their team, I actually asked them to do it whilst in the queue for the merchandise on the Friday night. So
that's that's
it was
okay.
problematic for them to do that. They just ran out of time. I think the learning point for everybody that's involved in EuroBowl moving forward
Mm,
is, if you're going to use tour play, then use tour play from the start. Don't make a last minute decision.
mm,
I think tour play is the right tool. I think future Eurobowls should use tour play.
mm,
But because we hadn't used tour play from the offset and we've been asked to submit our rosters in a different way,
mm,
unless you were going to announce moving to tour play 2 weeks in advance,
mm,
I believe that the coaches were asked to submit their rosters on tour play on the Wednesday before the Euro Bowl, and so that was always a chance that something would go wrong.
yeah,
I
yeah.
think it was right that it did proceed on tour play, and let's be honest, any other rounds 2 to 6, you don't know who you're going to play until it's drawn anyway.
Mm,
So, did it make a massive difference? Probably not. Is it upsetting to the people that had prepared? And I know that a lot of people were upset, so there was some, traction on Discord about it. But by and large, I don't think it would have affected the overall outcomes of many of the rounds.
mm,
So yeah, we adjusted, we discussed it, and it is what it is, and
mm,
we went with it. So
no.
I guess you could ask me something differently if we'd lost that round.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
we were
yeah.
happy enough.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean it is as you say it is something that like you will just have to live with. Like it's not like not bitching and moaning about it will not change anything. It'll in fact just detract from things. But it's yeah, I agree with you in that like those sorts of those sorts of organizational things should be on lockdown like before the tournament like the fact that it came in so late, even though it is a very good like application and like tool, like it should be clear to that like way prior to the tournament. I agree,
I
but
want to say
mm,
on the record now,
mm,
for me, Matt, Time Bandit, and
mm,
his team,
mm,
for me, this was my absolute favourite um, Euro Bowl for a whole host of reasons.
mm,
Apart from that Friday night and the change of matchups,
mm, mm,
it ran super smoothly. Everything was on time. Everything was on point.
mm,
There was a couple of issues with the vegan meals at
mm,
lunchtime, but when I raised that with Matt, he sorted it out the very second he saw me next, and generally loved every second of Hungary. Absolutely loved it. So kudos to Time Bandit and his team and the people of Budapest. Really well done. But yeah, I'm not going to sit here and criticise the rest of the little things, which, in the great scheme of things, it's a massive event. It's difficult to put on.
Yeah.
So I just want to say well done to them.
Yeah, and I mean, so certainly, like, even if it was a a long running and or established event, like even those run into trouble, and complications like on the day, like it is sometimes unavoidable, and like I hopefully, like, this is a learning experience, and going forward, hopefully this is a lesson learned, and we can even improve from here. Like, that's the important thing, is that we take the lessons and we improve. So.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, but with that fairly comfortable victory over Team Malta in the first round, on the second round, we have Team Wales going up against Team Belgium, and yeah.
So this round, going into it, this was probably the round that I thought we should be confident here. This was a team that we had played in Greece, in Athens. We beat them early on. I think we beat them in the first round last time. Quietly confident. We didn't lose a single matchup in this round, so it went to form. In that round, I played against some Orcs, and yeah, my dice got just super hot when I needed them to, and managed to get the 2-1 win. So yeah, quite pleased with that round. Scored a turn 8 drive, and then I just punched it in nice and early in the second half, and then yeah, quite happy with the 2-1 there. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was a very very sort of maybe a dominant form from the team, with 2-0 win for the Necro, 2-1 for the humans. The Amazon 0-0 draw is slightly surprising to me, because I do think that Amazons are a tough matchup for the undead. 1-1 draw for Andy Davo and his Pro Elves. 1-1 draw for Chaos. 2-1 for the Lizardmen. 2-1 for the Orcs, and then 2-1 for you on the High Elves. Yeah, as you said, didn't drop a game, and I'm sure that, like, if push had come to shove, like, I'm sure that Andy Davo, for example, could have gone for the win, but perhaps, like, he simply probably didn't need to.
I think the ethos that we have instilled in the Welsh coaches is look after your point. So don't give it away. So don't do anything silly. An elf mirror match, it can come down to a double one here or there. So just be careful. So yeah, it was just a careful. And I think Andy was down players in that one. I think the Treeman did a lot of casualties. So yeah, I think the 1-1 was the best option for him. He did he had to actually punch it in on turn 6, but managed to stop the 2-turner. And then, it just ended up being 1-1.
Yeah, and I mean, it got you guys the victory all the same. So I'm sure that they're, like, in such a high stakes, or, well, like, how high stakes, maybe the wrong word, but in such a big tournament, with like, national pride on the line, right? People are gonna be like, the coaches are gonna be aware, and they're gonna think about the team before they're ever gonna think about their own personal records. Even players such as Andy Davo,
100%, 100%. Yeah. One of the things that came back from our team in our debrief, and what we've been talking about since, and I've actually asked each of my coaches to write up their tournaments, and they all said the team camaraderie was massive, and we can talk about that in a little while. But this was the first event that I've been to where we played as a team on the pitch. So we were doing things for the team. We weren't necessarily going for personal glory. We were looking after we weren't giving our points away. The thing that and we did that in Athens as well. The thing that changed here massively for us was we converted some of those draws into wins. And well done to our guys on our top 5 tables. They all got, Orkster got 3 wins, only lost 1. Rubik got 4 wins, only lost 1. Andy got 4 wins, only lost 1. Joe got 3 wins, only lost 1, and Alex got 4 wins and didn't lose any. So we weren't giving our matchups away. The only one of our players that had a rotten tournament really was Jaywood with his Orc team. And if you'd said to me at the start of this cycle that you're not going to meet a bash team in any of your rounds, that's what happened to James. So James played just a sack of agility teams the whole time. He didn't meet a single bashy team, which meant, it was a problem. He played Elven Union in round 1.
Skaven here.
Skaven in round 2. And I think it just went on from there. We can look at that as we go through them. So he didn't have the best of weekends, bless him. He played vampires in round 3. So.
Oh, Andy went 4-2-0 too, according to BB Jock at least. So. Yeah.
That's correct.
Yeah. I mean, going undefeated in a tournament such as this, like with 4 wins and 2 draws, that's an accomplishment that not a lot of coaches would be able to reach.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
But with 2, like a comfortable and then a dominating win from round 1 and round 2 respectively, we move on to round 3, where you face off against what I think many would consider one of the big boys of EuroBowl and Blood Bowl nations as a whole, Team Spain. And
and what's worth noting is they were missing one of the best players in the world. Javin wasn't there.
No.
And Javin is a ridiculously good coach. There's so much depth in the Spanish setup. I think they've got over 1,000 active Blood Bowl coaches. They've got more active Blood Bowl coaches than France, active being that they've played a game in the last year, I believe.
Yeah.
Really top nation. They beat the English 7-1. Let's not dwell on that for too long. The round before us, they'd beaten the English 7-1, and even the English victory came from Carl Torquemada, who's actually Spanish as well. So 8 Spanish people won in that round, in that 7-1 defeat of England. So we knew that this was going to be a tough round, and this was the round where Joseph did the 9% play. So this was a very drawable round, but unfortunately, due to that communication issue, I was playing against the Necro team with 4 guard, and it was always going to be a hard one to turn over to convert mine into a win. But I followed team orders, and like I say, I've said, people were playing for the team, and that's what I did in this round. And it was that matchup that basically cost us the round. The team that had beaten England 7-1, we lost them narrowly 4-3. And this goes back to what I was saying before EuroBowl. I said that I felt Wales were pretty close to competing at all levels of the game. We've not been given an absolute drubbing for a long time now. Even our defeats in the home nations have been tight affairs. I don't think we've been beaten by more than 2 for quite a while. So yeah, a 4-3 defeat against Spain, which left us at 2-1 for the day.
Yep.
And I'd got into my head at this point because I'd gone 1-0-2 for the day. So this is the point where I was feeling quite low in my personal performance. And I was pretty tired because on the Friday night, Dementa Alex's flight had been delayed and he hadn't arrived to our accommodation till 1:30 in the morning, and I had to stay up to let him in. So I was absolutely exhausted because after I'd let him in, I then got up in the morning and cooked breakfast for my whole team. Full on fried breakfast, bacon, eggs, beans, sausages. The only person I didn't cook for was Andy Davo because he didn't get up on time. So he keeps moaning about that. But yeah, so I was absolutely run down and exhausted at this point. And I just went with the flow in the evening. I think we went for a burger at a place. It was really nice burger, but I was just exhausted. And then we got back to our accommodation, and I decided to have another game of Blood Bowl when we got back to the accommodation. So yeah, just to take my mind off the
Not great performance.
Yeah, I played Blood Bowl to take my mind off the Blood Bowl.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. It's wild how like I mean you. Yeah, you were not doing great at Blood Bowl, and then you were feeling super exhausted, and you decided that, you know what, I really need? I need to sit for an hour and a half in front of like a Blood Bowl pitch and then throw some dice, which is it's certainly a way of solving those two issues.
well, absolutely. I don't want to run. Who did I play that evening, Jock? I played Nixon from our open team captain. He was playing Undead. I was playing High Elves. I had an easy 2-1 against him, but just to make it fun, and he wanted to do some stuff to learn. So I pushed for another score, and he actually turned me over. But then it finished 1-1. He failed a 3+ dodge to win it. So yeah. So Nick, and this is what was good. The bowl team and the open team all stayed together, and it really has generated a lot of confidence and passion in the Welsh Blood Bowl community. We're talking about running our own training event next year, and we'll all meet somewhere, and it won't just be for the bowl and the open. If anybody from Squad Wales, that's the whole Welsh community, wants to come to that event, and it will be closed to just Welsh coaches, they will be more than welcome to join us just to play with the best that the country has to offer. And all our heavy hitters will be there. Certainly 80% of the top 10 from Wales will be there in attendance. So if you are a Welsh coach and you want to come and have some training events over a course of a weekend, and we'll do some drills like 1-turner drills and 2-turn offense and 2-turn defense, and, the grinding offense and stuff like that. So these are the things that our success this year has already generated these conversations, which is hugely exciting. It can only mean that we'll get stronger.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like that, even like just thinking about it for the coaches that would make the EuroBowl team or are in contention of making the EuroBowl team, and then the Euro Open team with the generally accepted as the reserves in case somebody has something come up and they can't join. Like even for that small of a group of people running an actual Blood Bowl training camp, whether it's just a 1 day or whether it's a 2 day thing, even that requires passion and dedication to the game, and it's very good to hear, because I mean that's damn. I mean, I'm sure I'm gonna definitely pitch the idea to the Finnish coaches, but getting a bunch of Finnish people together at the best of times is difficult. So I'm not sure we'll be able to manage that. But
well, I tabled it on the Saturday night, and I said I can probably get a free venue that we can probably sleep at. So, yeah, if we can get somewhere that the only cost is going to be travel, the particular venue I had in mind actually has its own kitchen. So, we've just proved at EuroBowl that to feed a team of 10, we didn't spend that much money on buying the stuff that we needed for breakfast. So then, you can throw sandwiches together for lunch, and you can do an inexpensive meal in the evenings if someone's willing to cook. And we're very lucky in Wales because No Number is used to work as a chef as well. So No Number's got experience of cooking on mass scale as well, and I'm more than happy to to help out in the kitchen. Like I said, I cooked for the whole team while we were away. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, sounds like a very interesting and thing, and like I hope it goes well for you. Like that sort of a thing, especially if you like if it goes well enough that you think that you can establish it as a maybe calling it a tradition is, but like just to keep doing it year after year, right? That's sort of a training camp event, like that's one of the ways that the community like sticks together and like grows together like closer and more competitive as well, like with all of the teaching going on. So yeah, absolutely a great idea, I think.
And it doesn't have to, that it shouldn't be understated. That team building aspect
Mm.
of those events is equally important. You want all of your teammates to get on with each other.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to have these barriers. You kind of want to, we're here and we're playing for the flag.
Mm.
We're playing for our badge. We're playing for the country that we feel passionate about.
Mm-hmm.
So 100%.
Yeah. All right. So with that, overall, how do you think that the team was feeling going on into day two? What were the thoughts running around?
We were of the opinion, and we knew that no team has ever gone perfect at a EuroBowl. No
Mm.
one has ever won EuroBowl 600.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
So we knew that points would be dropped at some point by all the teams, somewhere or somehow.
Mm.
So we knew at that point that 501 will give us a chance. It
Mm-hmm.
will give us a chance to do something special. So we went into day two positive. I was getting messages from back home. No number who had been elected as our captain couldn't
Mm.
make it. Was literally sending text messages all weekend, and on the second day he was getting more and more exciting. I know, like a lot of people, he was sitting at home, or actually he was working in the shop. He was
Mm.
sitting in the shop with tour play on, desperately texting people saying what's going on, what's going on. He was on the phone to 20 Phoenix. So the two previous EuroBowl captains were literally sitting watching the tour play results come in, texting each other. Was so excited. So it wasn't just the stuff in Hungary that was
Mm-hmm.
happening. People were getting absolutely excited just watching a computer screen of results coming in back home as well, which
Mm.
was absolutely fantastic. And it just goes to show putting it on tour play 100% the right decision,
Yeah.
even if it was a little bit late. So yeah, it was exciting. Us in the moment, we were just being professional.
Mm.
And that's kudos to Joe and Bert as well, and the guys. My morale officer always knows the right thing to say at the right time, and we were just in professional mode. My head at this stage actually was gone, absolutely gone. And this next round, the match against Norway,
Mm-hmm.
was the round that I made my mistake. Yeah, absolutely. We were just trying to be professional at that stage, Jimmy.
Mm.
And yeah, this round went dreadfully badly for me.
Mm.
My big mistake here was I didn't double tag the rat ogre. So with Lyman, so he was able to blitz. He was able to then blitz that one player off because as a block rat ogre.
Yeah.
And as you can see, it absolutely destroyed half my team. I think I had about 6 or 5 players left on the pitch at the end of the first half. It was
Mm.
horrendous. But my because I'd only single tagged that rat ogre,
Mm.
he blocked him off, triple tagged my cage. So the only option to me was hi Atulkas.
Yeah.
The only option to me at that point was just going for a short pass. If that short pass comes off,
Mm.
I score on my drive and run it in on turn 8.
Mm.
The pass worked. What I didn't expect was the deflection from the gutter runner. I had tagged the gutter runner as well, so he just rolled the natural 6,
Oof.
and that was it. I was 2-0 down by turn 2 in the second half. So I was up against it against rats who can just score with aplomb.
Yeah.
But it was a deflected pass that prevented the draw for that round. But again, my teammates bailed me out. But this was the round that I played dreadfully, dreadfully badly. Interesting thing in this round, if you look at the Andy Davo matchup, which I think is the third one along,
Yeah.
I think this was the round that Andy played Pod Podge. So Pod Podge's team was Death Roller Dwarves.
Yeah.
So Andy lost the toss. Pod Podge elected to receive, and with the plan to grind down the field and delete as many Elven Union people as possible. Now, we've all heard about the withdrawn offense. In this game, Andy Davo did the runaway defense. So after he took the opening round of blocks, he just ran his whole team away and just camped out just by the end zone. And then as the dwarves marched up the pitch, Andy went and filled the space that had been left empty. So Andy finished his opponent's drive just standing outside of his opponent's end zone, and the ball was at the other end of the pitch. Andy just did not engage. Andy didn't play Blood Bowl in that game because he didn't want his team to get killed, which meant he had 10 players for his drive. And then he had us one turner option, which worked. So Andy got his one turn option, and then in the second half, he just did a withdrawn offense.
Yep.
So I think in that whole game, the Dwarves only managed to get about 10 blocks in the whole game. And that was just by running away.
Yeah.
So was it Blood Bowl? No. Did he get the win? Yes.
Yeah.
So, those are the two matches that I've heard the most about in that round. So a tough matchup against Norway. They'd drawn with the US in an earlier round. I think the round directly before.
Yeah,
round
I think
three.
round 3, yeah.
Norway are no knockout, no easy match either. They've got some of the strongest players in the world. I think Joseph played against Straume. He played against it's Spain I'm looking at. Hang on. Norway.
Norway. Straume was against Joseph, yeah.
So, not an easy game at all, and Joe managed to get a 2-2 there with Straume, which was the key result because let's be honest, Straume is one of the top players in the world, clearly a top 10 player.
Yeah.
And that draw was key, because this was a narrow victory against Norway, 3-2.
Yeah.
And it was me, the captain, and the vice captain that lost our matches. Leading from the bottom, bravely leading from tables 7 and 8. But
I mean, you just delegated the winning to the rest of the team. That's what good leaders do. Like,
went outside after this game. I just had to get my head straight, and we'd managed to win it, so we were still in it. And France that round beat the Netherlands, which turned out to be our next round opponent. Round 5.
Yep, round 5. The Netherlands. I'll be honest. Like, I've not heard a lot of people talk about Team Netherlands in the sense of like, and I don't really recognize a lot of the names on the team either. So I'm not very familiar with Team Netherlands overall.
Yeah, they've got a few players that have been around a while. I don't know their names. I mean, Sebstar's been going to Euro. That was their undead players. He's been going to Euros as long as I've been around, since 2018. So, and Juiced as well. I played Juiced at UKTC the year before last when we were runners up, and he was playing Amazons that day, and he was the only match that I lost that weekend. I went 5-0-1. So they've got some players. Netherlands went 3-0-0 day 1 and then went 0-0-3 day 2. So they were actually pretty disappointed at the end of it after such a strong day 1.
Yeah.
And then they lost to, unfortunately for them, they lost to the winners. Then they lost to the runners up.
Yeah.
And in their final round, they played against a resurgent Switzerland team that had submarined like a boss. So they didn't have the easiest of opponents on day 2, but when you go 3-0-0 on day 1, you're going to be up against some of the better nations, and that's what happened to them.
Mm.
So yeah, I mean, this round was a fairly comfortable win for us.
Mm-hmm.
I finally got one of my favourite matchups, High Elves up against Amazons. I did get my opening. I was 2-0 up on defence by half time. So I was 2-0 up and then receiving the ball for the second half. And so turn one, the initial kickoff, I fortunately got a blitz. My blitz that turn actually killed and removed a Amazon linewoman. And then the very next turn, so I rolled a 6 for the number of players that I could move, so I could move 6 players. I managed to get some players into some very difficult positions for my Dutch opponent. He hadn't really fully guarded the wings for the blitz, and I managed to get 4 or 5 players through. And then, unfortunately for him, he failed to pick up, and that put me 1-0 up. And so, and he'd lost a player. He'd built his team a 14-player roster to foul. On his second drive, he was more secure around the ball, but he did leave a guard Jaguar warrior on the line of scrimmage, who I used a wrestle linewoman to drag to the floor, and then I just kicked her in the head, and she was knocked out. So second drive, second turn, he was down to 10 players again, but this time he was missing the Jaguar warrior, and he was carrying the ball on his other Jaguar warrior.
Yeah.
So I chipped away. This game was pretty aggressive from fouling. As you can see, we've actually recorded a lot of the fouls here and sending off.
Yeah.
This game finished 7 players against 9. We both had 5 removals. But I will fancy 7 elves against 9 Amazons all day long. And that's certainly the way it panned out. I punched in a third in the second half to make it 3-0, and then he ground up the pitch to get one back late on.
Yep.
And yeah, the round went tremendously well. What was it, 5-2 that round overall?
Yeah, there's a certain somebody here who lost Orcs versus Elven Union, once again an agility matchup for James, and then also Joseph lost against Necro in the mirror match.
Yeah, tough. I mean, that was all about the casualties. 5-1 on casualties. So in that mirror matchup, if you get 5-1 on casualties, the team that's not taken the casualties should win that one and take it home, which is the way it transpired. But so my head at this stage, I'm back in the game, and then it was a wait to see who would get in the final round. We knew we'd already played Spain. We were waiting to find out if they were going to lose that round. And then we moved on to a mere table 1 matchup against the French, who had just beaten the Spanish 5-2.
Yep, convincing win there. Yep.
Yeah. France were feeling particularly strong at this point, and I think France at that stage had basically not lost in something like 12 EUROBOWL matchups, going back to all the way through Greece, which they won, and I think the last round of Greece in Athens. So yes, people were saying, well, it's not the strongest French team. Nevertheless, they were still at the top.
Yeah, like I'm not like the people saying it's not the strongest French team, and yet the French were still like, I believe the first loss that the French actually took in this tournament was in round 3, where they comfortably beat the Finnish team, but they did lose one of the games, and like, so that's like, when you go up again like 3 rounds and you don't lose a single match until like the last one, right? That speaks volumes in a tournament as competitive as EuroBowl is.
Just goes to show how much depth the French, system has. You can look at Spain, England, US, France. They've all got 750 players, active players. Little old Wales has only got 100. France lost 7 games in total.
Yep.
And 3 of those are against Wales.
Yep.
So even the French commented at the end of that round, said you've basically nearly accounted for half of our losses this weekend. And they were so humble in defeat. My opponent, and I'll talk to you about my game. Absolutely ridiculous play to win the tie. My opponent at the end of the round just came round the table, shook my hand, gave me a hug, and it was incredibly friendly the whole time. So the way this game went, funnily enough, I got another blitz against the Amazons on turn 1. And it's a matchup. And this time I blitzed a Amazon blitzer with a wrestle piece, got a power and killed the Amazon blitzer turn 1, and he didn't have an Apo.
Wow.
He'd gone for the heavy reroll build.
Yeah. With four.
Questioned by some, but Pink Charlie going into the tournament was a 228 Amazon coach, so he knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing, and so lovely chap as well. And then on my drive, I just said at that point, right, I want to win this game. I just want to try and punch it in. He pulled off a 6+ dodge, 2 dice sacking of my catcher to pop the ball free. The ball was still safe because I'd guarded off the recovery. My very next dice was a double 1 to start my turn, and I got turned over.
Ooh.
And then he ground up the pitch and tried to stall for turn 8. I managed to pressurize him into scoring early, which gave me 2 turns to score a winner with the high elves. So if you want a team that scored 2 turns, high elves is one of the best to have, but it was against Amazons. There was the only one casualty in the game was caused by that opening turn blitz. So we weren't getting removals. I moved both of my throwers deep, but I was obviously also worried that I could lose the match. And if I'd lost the match, we would have actually lost the round.
Yeah.
Because he had 2 turns to go as well, having turned me over.
Yeah.
So I went over to Joe and Alex, and I discussed it with them. Do I go for this win? He says, you don't get many chances to beat the French.
Yeah.
The rest of the matches were in at this stage. The only matches that were still going on, Andy's was a locked-in draw. James was questionable whether he was going to hold for the draw, but he definitely wasn't going to get the win. And my game, the other results were all in. And it was 2-2 at this stage. So of the 3 games that were remaining, mine was the most winnable with 2 turns to go with high elves.
Yeah.
I had to protect against being blitzed, and I also had to protect it against him scoring the 2 turns. So I made the decision to punch through, and I had to do a 1 die block on a naked Amazon linewoman with a high elf blitzer with dodge. Took that opportunity, managed to get a blitzer and a. Hang on 1 second. Sorry, I've got an alarm going off. It's fine. Let's do that. I managed to get a blitzer and a catcher into scoring range, and I had a couple of linemen on the periphery who could perhaps go forward to support if they needed to, or could come back and prevent something disastrous happening at the back, because I had 1 reroll left at this stage. Both my throwers were back deep. They weren't quite as deep as one another, so one was slightly offset against the other. And I brought two of my other throwers back. I was so worried about losing the round, so I brought back. I'll answer that question. After I've covered this story. So my opponent then on his turn 7 said, right, we're just going to play for the draw. He gave up on the win. So he didn't push anyone forward because I protected against that. Otherwise, that would have been the play. He double marked both my blitzer and my catcher. And I had a couple of other players that he just tagged, but nothing major. And I managed to get one of my linemen round, tag one of the players that was standing against my blitzer. It was the most sensible play. I did a 1 die blitz with my blitzer, got the push that I needed, dodged him out and into the end zone. This, of course, because I'd gone deep with my throwers where the kick had gone. This meant I had to hand off from one thrower to the other. And it's worth noting on my last turn, the very first roll I rolled was a 1. So I'd actually lost my final re-roll. So now I'm re-rollers. The blitzer gets into the end zone, and I do the handoff one thrower to the other, and then I move that thrower up, and it's a long bomb. I need a 5+. So I declare the pass, move the player, roll the dice. I rolled a 4, used pass, and rolled the 5. It was at this point that my opponent, Pink Charlie, remembered he obviously had
On the
an
ball.
Amazon thrower with on the ball. Moved the player across into interception range and rolls the natural 6. And I'm like, oh no! And then I remembered Cloudburster, forcing him to re-roll the deflection. And he didn't roll another 6. And my blitzer kindly rolled, I don't know what he rolled, but it was a 2+ he rolled. And that was the 2-1. And that beat the French. Cloudburster, the most fantastic skill in the game.
Confirmed,
Confirmed, you know.
If you want to beat the French, you need people with cloudbursters. You need to pass the ball with somebody who has cloudburster. That's the secret sauce to beat the French. All right. I believe, by the way, this is the first time that I have ever heard cloudburster actually being relevant. And it was it was in fact the clutch skill to have in this situation. So
I've played 159 tournament games with High Elves now, and I think Cloudburster has come up in 3 of them. So one game in about 60, 50.
Well, if that one game happens to be round 6 against France in EUROBOWL, though.
In answer to Tulkas's question, we knew going into that round, for us to win it, we had to beat the French. I think it was by 4. When we looked at the overall win draws, I think France ended up on 31.5 points, and we ended up on 29.5. So yeah, we had to swing it by 4 to do it. It's a tall ask against any team to win 7-zip. You know, to win 4-zip. Against the French, it was next to impossible. You know, it is worth noting that Switzerland actually had the most wins during the tournament. But yeah, it's the fewest losses that came home to roost. You know, 23 wins in the EuroBowls out of 48 games is pretty good, and we only lost 12. And I think that's about the same. I think we lost 12 or 13 in Athens as well. So that ethos of not giving your point away absolutely is standing us in good stead. And the big difference between Athens and here is I think we had 23 draws in Athens. And we basically changed the 13 wins we had in Athens to 23 wins. So we just switched our wins and our draws pretty much. And that goes a long way. You know, we're in a good place. We've got some very strong players at the top end of Wales now. And I don't think anybody will fancy playing against us in the future. You know, especially if we're developing players as well. So
yeah, I mean, I'm sure that the Scots will always be ready up for a brawl, but that's more just the Scots than.
Yeah, it's okay. What we did in Athens for the Scots was massive. We allowed the Scots to draw with us. I think it's the only time the Scots have ever drawn with us. In all the times that we've played Scotland, I think the last 2 home nations, we've given them a damn good flogging. So yeah, we felt that we would give them a point in Athens, and you're welcome, Jock. I did actually at the after round 2 on the first day. We were up on table 2, I think, at the time, and I went, and Scotland had just lost to Slovenia. So I did go down. I felt it was my duty to go down and see my Scottish friends at that point when they were literally, I think, last place, and we were in 2nd or 3rd at that point. It was a big mistake, if I'm absolutely honest, because by the time I'd walked all that way, I was exhausted. I had to sit down. When I got down to the Scots, it was such a long walk. But yeah, Jock, I think at that point swore at me. He just told me to go away and do something rude. So yeah,
Well, there's a lesson in there in showing empathy to the wrong people. Some people just don't appreciate it.
I don't think I went down there with the thoughts of empathy. In fact, something that was established in 2018 when Wales hosted the Euros, we established the Celtic Cup, which is awarded to the Celtic nation that finished highest. So we pretty much had that wrapped up after round two with the 4 points from the first two rounds. But what normally happens is the previous winning captain hands it off to the new captain that wins it. Obviously, we won it in Greece as well, and we won it again here. So Time Bandit said, "Who's going to present the Celtic Cup?" So obviously we did the decent thing, and we got Jock to present the Welsh with the Celtic Cup. And he's like, "You what?" It's like, "Yeah, the only time the Scots are ever going to get their hands on it, because Scotland have never won it. So the Irish have won it, and the Welsh have won it the most." But yeah, we thought we'd let the Scots actually hold the Celtic Cup for about 3 or 4 minutes.
I'm very glad that I'm sure that the circuit in like of tournaments in the British Isles there's going to be a lot of a lot of this sort of energy going forward, which is great because it sounds like a fun time all the way. I'm sure that there's going to be people from Team England who are also annoyed at having to look up the leaderboard and see Team Wales up there as well. I'm sure you won't let them forget that, at least for a little bit.
Funnily enough, on the Sunday evening after all was said and done and the results had come in, and congratulations to the Team England Open team, very well played. Well done to that team of four, and the very unfancied Black Hawk team. Well done on your win in the Euro Open. But the Team Wales, we booked to go to a restaurant, an all-you-can-eat place in Budapest in the evening. So we've been there about 10 minutes, and then the whole England team walk in as well, having had the same idea as me. And Misspelled Tree comes over, bless her, Nikki comes over, and she says hello. And I said, "Oh, hello, everybody, look, it's the second best team from the British Isles. They've just turned up." So, yes, rubbing in has already happened, and I don't expect it to last. But for the next year, don't you worry. We'll be reminding people that Wales are finally a team from the British Isles has beaten England, and it's never ever happened before. No British Isles team has ever finished above England at the EuroBowls before. We were very close in Athens, which I talked about on the stream before we went, and it came down to that last match with no number playing against Mankis in the Lithuania match. But this is actually a first now, and to be fair to England, they only lost one round, which was against the mighty Spanish, and then they tied a round against Denmark, so they tied against fourth, and they lost to third place, and they didn't have a bad tournament, even though they were everybody's fancies pick. England didn't have a bad tournament, but we just had a magnificent tournament, I suppose. It was amazing.
Yeah, no, and certainly I feel that, especially, having Team Wales having lost to Team Spain as well, like they are, as mentioned, one of the best nations at Blood Bowl at the moment, at the very least. They just have such a width of talent on hand. So losing, Team England, their one loss against Team Spain is no shame on them, really.
Every single one of those top five, except for Wales, has won the EuroBowl before. So we are the anomaly in that top five.
You are the black sheep.
Yeah, long may it continue.
I mean, it would be. I mean, as much as I don't want to jinx your guys' run in Poland coming up next, it would be kind of funny if you guys managed to actually win EuroBowl in Scotland.
That would be the most tremendous thing. Actually, I'll tell
Yes.
you what. In Scotland, I'm willing right now on here to make a pact with my Team England and my Team Ireland colleagues. It doesn't matter which one of us wins it, as long as Jock has to hand one of us the trophy. That's all it will take. It doesn't matter who wins it out of the rest of the British Isles, as long as Scotland don't, and it's either Ireland, England, or Wales that Jock has to hand the trophy. I will leave. I will leave Glasgow with the biggest smile on my face.
I'm not sure if I'll be honest. I'm not sure if Jock is going to be physically capable of such an act in the case that it has to happen, right? He might simply spontaneously combust before it happens.
Uh,
But
no, bless him. We love Jock. He's a great character. And actually, I have to say, without the home nations, the progress Wales has made can be directly related to what happened at the home nations in the last couple of years. We we were able to go to home nations this year under the rules for EuroBowl this year, and we actually managed, of all of those racial choice picks that we changed, and if you recall, we made 4 or 5 racial changes after home nations.
yeah.
All but one of them worked exactly as intended. Andy had a more responsive team. Rubik came in on humans and went 4-1-1. Owen moved from vampires to lizards, and he at home nations, I think Owen went 0-2-3 or 0-1-4. He had a nightmare with vampires, and we moved him onto a team that he's just more comfortable with his lizards. And I think his ELO rating with lizards now is going to be close to 240. And that was absolutely fantastic. The only one that didn't work, moving Burtmack as well from Renegades on to Chosen, the team that he's only used 6 times before the EuroBowls. I think he only lost 1 game, or maybe 2. But again, solid in the middle of our tables, not giving his points away easily. He openly admitted against the French that he did make his first mistake of the whole weekend. He held his hands up to that one. But,
like if he thinks that he only made one actual mistake, like in this sort of a competition, like that talks a lot about how how good he is at playing the game that he's playing.
yeah, doesn't get on terribly well with the agility teams, but you give him a bash heavy team that can get removals, and he knows how to play those bashy teams. He's a 207 rated coach with Renegades, and if he obviously he needs to get the right rule sets with Chaos. But if the rule set is favourable, you don't want to play against John with Chaos Chosen, and that was a great racial change as well. And like I say, the only one that didn't work was James's move to Orcs, and we're working on what James is going to use moving forward, because he's a great methodical coach. So yeah, we're going to look at that, and hopefully we won't have someone losing 4 of their games in Poland. If you can prevent that, then you move a long way. Because who knows, that one single loss against France or against Spain, 2 shots, there could have made all the difference. So, actually, he didn't lose to France. To be fair, he got the draw.
Yeah, he got the 1-1 draw. Yeah,
he was the final. Yeah. So yeah, that was the only racial change that didn't really work. James was originally on Union, but like I said before we went, unfortunately for James, he had his race was changed something like 4 times in the course of 7 days after home nations. So in the end, we put him on Orcs, which did struggle. Funnily enough, he didn't have the greatest luck with his Mighty Blow tackle piece. he didn't get killed or anything. He just didn't generate the casualties against all of the teams that he played against.
Yeah.
And in fact, at the end of the tournament, he looked and his orc thrower actually caused more casualties than the tackle mighty blow blitzer. So, and he was playing against edge teams the whole time.
Yeah.
Even Union Vampires just didn't proc.
Yeah.
It can happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, but I think we've already sort of almost wandered off to the next topic, which is the final sort of big topic is we've kind of, I assume the mood after the tournament was fairly jubilant for Team Wales, like being the best ever spot for Team Wales, and being the best at the British Isles. Like I imagine that morale was high.
We were pleased. I remember going over to Andy at the end of the France round, and I just said to him, this time last year, Andy had said to me, "I don't think Wales will ever be in a position to challenge at the top of one of these events." And I said to him, "How are you feeling now?" He says, "Genuinely, Gav, I can't believe it. I don't think any of us could." I think there was a little bit of a wait to find out if we'd finished second or third, because we weren't sure on the count back, because Spain were pretty close to, they were a win and a draw short of overtaking us.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's hard to describe. We obviously enjoyed it, but such is the passion that's been instilled in us. Part of us, I think, was thinking, God, what if,
Just a little bit more, just a little further.
Because we'd given everything. Yeah. There had been highs, there had been lows, there had been shock results up and down so many matches, and the French just seemed to be running away with it. And then, it was good. People, we bonded, and one of the sad things was after our meal, Joe and Alex did go out in the evening, and then their flights were like 3 a.m. So they disappeared pretty quickly. We finished dinner, we walked home, went to bed, and then I haven't seen Joe or Alex since the meal afterwards. So the community was over the moon. Some of the messages, the following day I got some messages. I got one message from No Number, and he said he woke up the following day saying it was like the same feeling he'd got if Manchester United, which is the team he supported, had won the FA Cup the day before. He said the dopamine rush that he got from knowing that his Team Wales, had finished as runners-up in the biggest international Blood Bowl tournament, when it comes to the team affair, that there is. People, the messages from the community, so exciting, and it's generated a lot of passion. Directly after EUROBOWL, we have our annual charter review, and there's passionate, difficult conversations. But the thing that really drives us forward is that we're all there to play for our country. We're all there to play for our flag. So yeah, it's exciting time, and we've just got to keep on this. Welsh Championships is in early January. Hopefully we'll be playing the new Blood Bowl rules set by then. And we shall see what happens next. And hopefully Wales can keep growing. It's super exciting time.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm sure that like this sort of a showing at EUROBOWL will more than likely just put more wind into your sails as a Blood Bowl community. Like this is
absolutely. Yeah. We're looking at options to see if we can get some sponsorship by some of the gaming stores that support Welsh Blood Bowl, and because one of the prohibitive factors, is cost. To getting the team out there, and that we've got some strong players in the Welsh setup who, for personal financial reasons or personal reasons, find it very, very difficult to travel. One of the things that we're discussing about at the moment is whether we'd want to be able to find the funds so we could take a non-playing captain with us, that kind of thing. You know, asking someone to travel all the way across Europe to go and play in a tournament where they're not even going to play Blood Bowl. You know, and fair play to the countries that did manage it. You know, France, Spain, and I know England all had non-playing captains, and they finished in the top 5. So there is some strength in that. So that's the discussion that we're having. You know, see if we can actually find some sponsorship from somewhere. And if we can't, then we'll have to see what we can do. But that is one of the things that we're looking into as well. So there's a couple of huge gaming stores in Wales, and if you'd be kind enough to sponsor Wales, then I'd have shouted out your shop's name right here, right now. But we don't have a sponsor at the moment, so I'm not going to.
Hey, I mean, maybe by the time that we get to the pre-Poland EuroBowl interview, if there is one, and maybe you can proudly say that Team Wales is sponsored by this and this gaming shop in Wales. It's a great place. Go and buy your stuff from there. Who knows?
For sure.
All right. I think we've had a pretty good review of what the how the team how things went, how the team's feeling, and how team is looking forward into the future. If there's any final words, any final sage wisdom that you want to say here.
Yeah, I guess I want to say that every single one of my games was played in the right spirit, even when it was tensed. Yes, there was cheering when I was intercepted. Yeah, my opponent cheered. When my blitzer caught it in round 6, I cheered against the French. You know, I couldn't believe we'd beaten the French. But there was never any malice. There was never any, you know, try hard. I'm going to actually shout this out to Pink Charlie, my French opponent in the round 6. On my turn 8, he actually pointed out to me that did I know it was turn 8? And I have to admit, I actually went into that round thinking I had to stall for another turn. And he actually was the one that said, "You do know it's your turn 8, don't you?" He could have quite happily stayed quiet there and just let me run it into another stalling position, and I wouldn't have run it in. So, and that's in the biggest match in the European calendar, possibly the biggest match in the world, where they're playing for a title. And he was good enough to remind me that it was actually my turn 8, so I should run it in. And I can't understate how important that is. Yes, we want to win Blood Bowl, but we want to win in the right way. So to every single one of my opponents, thank you very, very much for the matches. Sorry if I diced you, and I forgive you if you diced me, but thank you for the spirit that you showed. Thank you for all of the matches, and finally, once again, thank you to Time Bandit and the Hungarian committee that ran such a fantastic tournament. And long may Blood Bowl continue.
Absolutely. But yeah, it's especially, it is sometimes a thing when you look at the bigger actual sports and other such things where sometimes it feels like the actual spirit of sportsmanship gets kind of lost in the need to win, which I mean everyone wants to win, I'm sure, but not losing that spirit is very important. I agree. So
100%.
But with that, I think we're at the end of this review. Once again, thank you for being here. Thank you for making the time.
My pleasure.
Yeah, and hopefully we'll be able to discuss how things have developed before the next EuroBowl in Poland.
I hope so. I'm not going to be standing or re-standing for captaincy, but there's a strong possibility that I may still be the Welsh spokesperson, depending on what gets delegated out. So we shall see who wins that vote, and we'll take it from there.
All right. Well, with that, Thank you everybody for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you learned something. Hope you had a good time, and hope we will be here for the next one. There's a couple of other teams that have already expressed interest in potentially getting one of these reviews done. So we'll see if we can schedule those in. But as I always say at the end, good day, good afternoon, good evening, good night, good morning, whatever happens to be the time of day for you. Have a good one.